the #1 Costa Rica real estate and investment podcast, bringing you experts from all over Costa Rica.
Good morning, guys, and welcome to episode 109 of Costa Rica Real Estate and Investments with me, your host, Richard Beckson. I want to apologize for not doing as many podcasts, guys. I've been running around like a bit of a headless chicken all over the country. Just got back from Guanacaste yesterday, where, of course, we have like over 10 projects going on at the moment. Plus also just kicked off the fund that I'm running here as well. So looking at properties up there. So it's been very, very busy. But today we're going to be talking with Pia Dalvit from Tamarindo Park in Tamarindo, of course, up there in Guanacaste. Tamarindo Park is a new development kind of on the back end as you go from Tamarindo towards Langosta. Absolutely beautiful. And they have a lot of hectares of also green land there as well that backs onto the reserve of which they will also be preserving as well. So we're going to be talking to her about Tamarindo real estate, where she sees gaps in the market, and also kind of what's going on at Tamarindo Park as well. Remember, guys, if you need any help or are looking to invest in Costa Rica and looking for some guidance, we have a lot of data that we use when making, and helping people make decisions when investing here in Costa Rica. It's really important for us to get an understanding of your goals, what it is you're trying to do. Is this an investment? Is this lifestyle? Is it a bit of both? Just so that we can really kind of apply that logic to any investment that you guys are looking at, as well as produce kind of, I suppose, financial investment models for you when making an investment here, even if it's a vacation home, kind of give you an idea of what your returns can be per year, kind of like I would say pessimistic, kind of a realistic, and then also optimistic view on that. So if anyone wants to reach out to us, they can. info@investingcostarica.com. That's info@investingcostarica.com. And remember, if you've got any subjects that you'd like us to cover in future podcasts, please reach out to us. If you'd like to speak to Pia yourself, all of her contact details will be in the description. But let's get straight into it. Good morning, Pia. How are you doing?
Hi, good morning, Richard. Good, and you?
Very, very good. I really appreciate you taking the time, which I know is on a very busy schedule over there in Tamarindo Park, to jump on the podcast with us today.
No problem. It's a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me in your podcast. And yeah, I'm looking forward to.
Awesome. Well, let's get straight into it. I think everybody knows, Pia, that, the pandemic really accelerated, real estate in Costa Rica. But are you, a lot of people keep asking me whether, have you seen a slowdown the past couple of months? Is that because of the time of year? Or you're not sure? Like, we don't know yet. We won't know till high season. What's your, what trends are you seeing? Or what's your viewpoint on the market currently?
So to be honest, in the market right now, there's like a small slowdown, but I believe the reason here for is just like the green season and
Yep.
Any other influences. To be honest, we are really, really positive about the market in Costa Rica, and especially in Guanacaste. A lot of people, especially after the pandemic, choose to invest into Guanacaste or in general in Costa Rica. But also not only investing, also considering to live here full time. And one of the reasons is that Guanacaste is a really, really desired area. We have great surf breaks, which makes it really attractive for people that are really active in the outside. There are also over 300 sunny days over the year, so a really, really last rainy days. And also already built infrastructure. And one of the most important points is that we all have a really, really great emergency care here.
Yeah. I agree. A lot of people always ask about clinics and also hospitals, and in that area, there are plentiful. And I think the big thing about, Guanacaste is that, you're everywhere from, you're really close to the airport, whereas if you're, in the central southern Pacific, the nearest beach is probably Jaco, and then further down, Uvita or Hachao is 3.5 hours away, but from Liberia to Tamarindo is an hour. It's very quick.
Yeah, and then also imagine that we also have a national airport. So should you fly into San Jose, you still can take the plane Sansa from San Jose to Tamarindo, which is about a 30-40 minutes flight, and it's easy going. Right.
I've taken that flight way too many times now. I don't drive to Guanacaste because of the roads. I just fly up there now.
Yeah, it's easier.
Yeah, definitely. Well, look, what beach towns in Costa Rica do you personally like and that you would invest in, and why, Pia?
So me personally, and not only because I'm living here in Tamarindo, I definitely think that Tamarindo is one of the most desired towns, and like a really, really great opportunity to have a great investment here. One of the reasons that we just discussed is that you're only like an hour far away from the international airport of Liberia. You have the national airport here that brings you like to San Jose, to Liberia, but also to a few other different places all over Costa Rica. So the community also here in Tamarindo is multicultural. So that makes like the living experience really, really fun and attractive to people from all over the world. We have international accepted schools. So if you're moving here with your family full time, your kids don't have to miss out on their education, which is like a really important point when you make the decision to move in a foreign country. Yeah? And also we are living really, really close to one of the 5 blue zones, which is the Nicoya Peninsula. So people are living here as the healthiest, the longest, and the happiest. So that also like having this considered and you purchase, I think it's Tamarindo.
I mean, what about are there any other beach towns that, like, I mean, if you were to personally make an investment and it's not Tamarindo, you know, for over the next 5 years, if you were to make a 5-year investment, which beach towns would you personally be looking at investing in, Pia?
So there are 3 beach towns that I would recommend to make an investment. Again, Tamarindo is one of them. The other one would be Nosara, and the other one would be Santa Teresa. Why these 3 beach towns? Because the community over there is multicultural, which I think is a really, really important aspect. You have a built infrastructure, you have like the first world like amenities and shops and restaurants and doctors and all the things that you need in your daily life. And yeah, let's say, I mean, like the living experience in the jungle is really nice, but you also wanted to have like all the necessaries that you need while living there full time.
Definitely. Let's talk about a 10-year investment then, like a little bit further out and in a potentially developing beach town. I mean, if you were to look, 10, maybe even 20 years, I mean, and you're making an investment for some bigger returns going forwards. I mean, where else would you be looking?
So, I mean, still, I believe in my personal opinion that Guanacaste is still like one of the most desirable locations in Costa Rica, just because the infrastructure is already built out. Again, my preference would be like the Tamarindo area. So if we speak about Tamarindo directly, it's building out really, really fast, especially like in the past 2 years. Which makes like your investment, again, like gives them like a really higher value. If you're also looking into the Tamarindo area, you have a small other beach towns called like Avellanas, you could go to Playa Grande. And so I think like this area makes it like really, really desirable, just because you already have like the built infrastructure, which are doctors, restaurants, pharmacies, international accepted schools, the roads, the 2 airports close by, and also like pretty soon like a marina. So making the investment in this area will raise the value of the property that you're going to purchase pretty soon.
Yeah, I mean, it's, I mean, some people were like, look, I'm going to invest in an area that's strong, and Tamarindo is like an A+ destination in Costa Rica. It's one of the strongest rental areas and investment areas in Costa Rica, and others are like, I want to take a bit of risk here. I'm going to head further south or further north and invest in kind of more of a developing beach town. I was over in Bahia Piratas the other day, which is a dirt road all the way to it for quite a while, and someone's like, dude, this road's going to get paved. And I'm like, don't believe anything in Costa Rica till you see it.
Yeah, I mean, like, these are the other things, like it can get paved. The question is like when, right?
Well, I mean, that's everything here, right? When?
Yeah, but this makes also like, like this is the really, really nice things and the living experience that you get in Costa Rica. Not everything has to be rushed and done like by the way. It works how it is. And this is also one point that I think expat has to consider when they're moving out of the first world countries. Yes, that things are not rushing. So this also makes like your living experience nicer, because you are also not in a personal rush to do things or to get to things. And I think this is one of the experiences that I had here, and also like a lot of my clients that invested here have to get used to, but it's also like a really nice part of Costa Rica.
Yeah, I mean, I think the people that don't last in Costa Rica are people that expect everything to be, it's like, I want the Costa Rica setting, but I want everything like my home, that everything works well and everything moves. That's not it. Like if you're a very uptight, anxious person and you don't think that you can adjust to just the slow pace of life here, like this is not the right destination for you.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. Where do you believe the gap in the market is at the moment, Pia?
To be honest, the gap right now at the market is that if you find a property or a business that you want to invest into, you have to make your decision really quickly, just because there is not a lot of inventory available. And so if you find something that you like, you don't really have time to think twice about it. You have to make the decision right away, which in one point is nice because you're going closer to your dream. But on the other side, sometimes we have like decisions to make or like with family to discuss. And then in this point, you don't have the possibility to do so because great opportunities are fast taken.
Definitely. What businesses do you think are missing in the area? I was having a conversation with someone the other day. They were like, we need a toy shop. And it was just the most random thing. I was just like, oh, wow. And even a toy shop for toys for kids and stuff that like.
Oh, actually, there's one.
Wow.
Yeah, no, there's actually like a pretty huge one, brand new, right in the center of town, across from Banco Nacional. I just have been there yesterday, and I was like, oh my God, that's a dream for small kids.
Wow, someone filled that gap.
Yeah. So actually, to be honest, like here in this area, I believe like we have all kind of things that you need in your daily life. If you look for something like really particular, you just take like your international a flight to San Jose, and there you can find all kind of certain things. But as I mentioned, especially like in this area, I think you have everything that you need. And I think also, in my personal opinion, is that we are so overloaded usually. I'm original from Germany, so I don't know if you hear it on the accent, but there you have like everything is like so materialistic, and you have you're overloaded with stuff that you actually don't need.
Yep.
And here you're really based on the lifestyle and what you need for your daily life. And so I believe we have everything what we need.
Yeah, I always giggle when a lot of people move down here and they buy these flash new cars, and I'm like, you guys are idiots. Like, that's like not what we do here. Like, yeah.
Yes, you can throw the money on the window.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
If you buy a new car, that's not what you need, and that's also the great thing that you start to reuse things and not always have to have brand new things, and be more conscious about your consume.
Yeah, definitely. Well, let's chat a little bit more about Tamarindo Park here. Maybe you can give us an idea, Pia. What is it? What's the concept, and what makes it unique?
Yeah, so Tamarindo Park is a brand new development project here in the center of Tamarindo. So we are in a walking distance of about 10 minutes to the center of town, into the Tamarindo beach. To Langosta, walking distance is about like 15 to 20 minutes, and in a car drive, like literally like 2 minutes. So what makes our project really unique is that we are part of our project is bordering the world famous Baulas National Park. So in this part, we are committing to only developing 25% of the complete 35 hectares. So 75% is going to maintenance nature. And so part of our project is the Tamarindo Park Foundation that makes sure that all the steps that we're taking align with the eco footprint of Costa Rica. So we don't want to have a bad impact into nature and destroy it. Our mission and our vision is to live in once with them. So all the project of Tamarindo Park is going to be designed by one architect who is Richard Muller. Richard Muller is a pretty well-known architect, especially in the area, in the coast area. He has over 40 years of experience with the tropical climates, which is really important because in our homes, we're using natural materials like a lot of wood. And so with his experience, we have a really great team on board. Also, we're going to implement permaculture, regenerated agriculture, and reforestation. And this is not going to be implemented in the property of the homes. It's also implemented into the whole green areas that we're going to have in the project.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's you know, it's interesting when designing in tropical climates, because, you know, we have a, you know, there's a very dry season and then there's a very wet, I mean, yeah, there's a wet season. I mean, as you mentioned, you know, I mean, Guanacaste gets over 300 days of sun per year, but like, you really need to build that, like, you know, longer eaves, you know, don't expose wood, you know, those kind of things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, what we're also implementing in our design is, so all the homes have like a modern tropical design. What we're implementing is also natural cross ventilation, a lot of natural highlights. So you get like really like literally like an indoor outdoor living experience when you're in the home, an open floor plan. And the permaculture, which is a really, really important aspect. We are only working, all the landscape that we're including in our homes are only native trees, and 50% of these native trees are fruit trees. Costa Rica has a really, really great earth. So if you spread the seed and give them water, you're going to have a plant over there. Yep. This is especially also after the pandemic, what a lot of people are looking for, to have their own small little oasis where they can have like their own fruits and vegetables. And why should you go to the supermarket and buy it if you can have it in your own backyard? You just come out, you grab it, and you cook it.
Yep. I mean, I agree. And it probably tastes about 20 times better as well. So.
Oh yeah. And you don't spend money.
Exactly. I mean, a lot of people, how many people would you say that are investing in Tamarindo Park to have a home, to like as a vacation home and not rent it? And, you know, how many people would you say are looking for kind of like something that they can use, but they're going to use it as a vacation rental?
Yeah, so just to explain, like in the beginning, our market was more, and this was like before the pandemic, the market here in Tamarindo was more that people are investing to have it as a second home and have it as a rental. We pretty fast noticed that a lot of people are actually planning like to move here full time. So our clientele is 50-50. The layouts of our homes in the beginning have been as a rental home design, but we also open like to redesign the homes and personalize them after the needs that every client has. For example, we had our first client that is a family from California moving over here with 2 small kids, and they decided to purchase a home on a lot where they have like 2 different structures, and it didn't work out for them. So we took the second structure away, built a second floor, and created a family home instead of a rental home. So really thinking that we have like a 50-50.
Yeah, I mean, it really is amazing because, again, I'm, you know, involved in a lot of design of homes, and depending on what the home is, building a home that you're going to live in and one that that's going to be a vacation rental are 2 completely different things. You know, I mean, I walk into homes sometimes and I'm like, I would not like to live in this, but, you know, I would rent this for a week, you know, because it's fun and it's exciting. But like when you start to live in something, that fun and excitement kind of wears off, and it's all about usability.
Yeah. So what we implement in most of all properties is that we build like a small different structure. Just because if you consider to move here, you have always family or friends that wanted to come and visit you, or if you're working from home and you have the family with kids, you want to have a separate structure where you can work and be quiet and just focus on your work. So on most of the properties that we're building, we have like a separate structure, as we call like a small apartment, that you can be used for family or friends, as a guest house, as a second rental opportunity in case you want to consider it, or as an office or gym.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the thing about Tamarindo that, you know, I mean, everybody should just be aware of is it's just a very strong, you know, rental market. You know, I mean, I did an analysis a while back for, you know, a luxury beachfront home there, you know, and it was just incredible looking at the, you know, 70, 80%, you know, occupancy rates in there. I mean, the barrier to entry, of course, Tamarindo is probably one of the most expensive areas to invest into, but for that, you also get the return as well. So now, what businesses do you think are missing in the area, Pia? I mean, what businesses would you like to see in the area?
Spoken as a woman, I think a shoe shop.
That's a good one.
Yeah. I mean, or like for men's, like a clothing store for men, because you have Definitely a lot of clothing shops here for women, because I mean they prefer to shop than a man. But for you, I think there should be also something built out here.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, it's amazing asking people just about what those businesses are missing, because I think it's interesting because, again, if people are a lot of people look to move to Costa Rica and they're like, okay, I'd like to start a business as well, and sometimes, yes, there is an advantage to buying something that's already existing, but sometimes like starting a new business as well, when there's huge demand for it, can be very interesting.
Yeah. So definitely if somebody's interested in a shoe shop, I'm going to be there.
Awesome. Well, my last question for you, Pia, that I love to ask anyone: if you had $500,000 to invest into business or real estate in Costa Rica, what would you do with it?
I would definitely invest to a property, into real estate, just because you can use it as an investment, but then also if you shouldn't be living in the country or living in a different part of the country, you can use it on a low season for your personal use and still making money. So where are you investing and what are you buying? Where?
You got $500,000.
Well, with $500,000, it would be definitely like in a beach town, definitely not Tamarindo, but somewhere in the Guanacaste area. I'm in love with the Guanacaste area and a beach town, and And
would you buy a condo? Would you build a home? Would you buy an existing home? Do you have a preference?
I would probably buy an existing home. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Just because for me personally, I prefer a home than a condo, and
Well, I mean, Costa Rica really offers clients what I like to call a lifestyle investment, which is like you can invest it. Like if it's all about ones and zeros, there are better places in the world sometimes to invest if it's just about making money. But here, as you mentioned here, it's near a blue zone. Like it's a slower pace of life. There's surf. A lot of it's outside. And even when designing homes, it's like, look, you don't need big homes here because you spend a lot of your time outside. Like outside areas are important.
Absolutely. And there's also something about Costa Rica that a lot of my friends and families, they always ask me, why are you exactly in Costa Rica? And you don't really can explain it because it's like a feeling and it's this lifestyle. So I would really recommend just to come over here, and you're going to notice how friendly the people are, how happy they are, how healthy, and just come over and experience by themselves. I always recommend it to everybody.
Yeah, I agree. Well, Pia, we really appreciate your time. Thank you very much for coming on the podcast. Anyone that wants to get in contact with Pia, we'll take a look at Tamarindo Park. All of the contact details will be in the description. And Pia, have a great weekend.
Thank you so much. You too.
Thank you. Have a good one. Bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
I hope you enjoyed that podcast there with Pia from Tamarindo Park up there in northern Guanacaste. As you can see, she's been up there for many years up there in the Tamarindo area, likes it very much. I'm sure that there's a bit of bias, of course, having Tamarindo Park and working up there with investing in the area. But I mean, as I mentioned on the podcast, it's just a very solid area, to invest into with solid vacation rental returns. The barrier to get in there, of course, is expensive. A 2-bedroom condo, you're looking in excess of $300,000, depending on whether it has ocean view as well, et cetera, et cetera. But if you want to reach out to Pia, all of her contact details are there in the description. Remember, guys, if you've enjoyed this podcast, please give us a thumbs up, a review. I really appreciate all the support that everyone's been giving. I love reading the reviews on Chartable that a lot of you have posted as well. So it gives me the motivation to continue. And we'll work over the next coming weeks to get quite a few more of these podcasts out and get you a bit of an update kind of from realtors of what's happening in the area. I mean, I think it's difficult at the moment just because, again, we're in September and October, which are our quietest months here when it comes to arrivals. So I think this coming high season, like December, January, February, March, is really going to be a good indicator of kind of, what's happening in the market here in Costa Rica. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the podcast, guys. Remember, if you want to reach out to us, you can. info@investingcostarica.com. That's info@investingcostarica.com. Have a great weekend, guys. Bye.
The #1 Costa Rica real estate and investment podcast, bringing you experts from all over Costa Rica.